everyone, Tanya here. Thank you for supporting my channel, and if you have not done so yet, please hit that like button or drop a comment and subscribe. Let's get into the project. So I really enjoy browsing in the antique shops, and one day I came across this little kid table with a couple of chairs, and I thought, what a fun project to do for my grandson. Not sure what I'm going to do at this point, but it should be interesting. Let's see where it goes. These chairs have seen better days, so for now I'm just going to set them aside, decide later whether or not I want to take on these repairs or just scrap them and get some different chairs. I just got a new tool and I'm really excited. It's called the Surf Prep Sander. It fits in the palm of your hand, and because it has a smaller surface area, you can get into tighter spaces, and that's going to be really important going forward. So it has a variety of sandpaper, and it hooks up to your shop vac so it collects all the dust for you. So if you're wanting to do just a flat surface, you would just take the regular sandpaper and just pop it on like you would any other sander. So that's one option. However, it also comes with a variety of thicknesses of these padded sandpapers, and that's for areas that have contours, maybe different designs. The squishy padded sandpaper allows you to go on any surface without damaging or changing the shape of whatever you're sanding, and that's going to be really helpful. So I still do use my regular orbital sander, and you can also get the padded sandpaper for that as well. I will be using both for sure. Here's a quick demonstration of the padded sandpaper and the flexibility that it gives you. So as always, the first thing we're going to do is give it a good cleaning. I like the interesting shape of this table. We've got contours on the corners and on the edges that give it a little flair. I'm working on a flat level surface, so I'm just putting on the regular sandpaper. And as my brother lovingly reminded me, you need to go with the grain, not against it. I was a little distracted and excited using my new tool for the first time. I had to think long and hard whether to actually purchase this sander because it is on the pricey side, but I could tell right away that it is going to be a game changer for me, and I am really happy with my purchase. The brackets that I removed earlier are a bit corroded, so I soaked them in some vinegar and baking soda. I left them a little too long. I kind of got busy and forgot about them, but they did get a lot of gunk off of them and also ended up with some rust. So after I rinsed them thoroughly, I put them in a container with some apple cider vinegar, left that for several days, gave it a good shake every now and then rinsed them off again. They looked way better this time, so now they're ready for paint, I think. Now I'm just putting on some primer on the tabletop and getting ready for paint. I came across these stickers at Hobby Lobby and I wanted the table to have an educational element. This gave me the inspiration to go with the solar system. So I'm just kind of playing around with them, checking out the placement, how I want it to look, and go from there. With the backing still on the stickers, I just used a piece of Scotch tape to place them where I wanted them so they wouldn't move. And I did this process once before and used way too much paint, made a huge mess, so I ended up rinsing it all off and now I'm starting over. So this is called pour painting. You just dump the paint colors that you want, and I'm using my new airbrush with no paint in the hopper. I'm just using it like an air compressor to move the paint around, and you just keep moving the paint, adding colors here and there, whatever your heart desires, until it looks like you want it to look. And it's a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying this new process that I've learned. For Jupiter, I need some stripes, so I'm just going to be doing some finger painting on this one. For Neptune, I did use a combination of blue and white, and I decided to add a little bit more white and see what I end up with. At this point, I removed the stickers, placed them on some poster paper. That way I can cut them out and use them for my stencil. I've placed my planet stencils over the messy globs of paint, and now I'm just taking some black paint and going around the edges. I continue to pour paint and push it around with my dry airbrush to create this vast, universal, cosmic background. It looks like a pretty big mess at this point. I had to remind myself several times to trust the process and just keep going. Once I had the background the way I wanted it, it was time to add some stars. I just dipped in some watery paint and just tap, tap, tap. And for the sun, I dumped in some orange, yellow, magenta, and a little bit of black. And then I took the back end of a paintbrush and just dragged it out to add a little more detail. Now for the moment of truth. Did my stencils work? Yes they did. There will be some touch-up needed, but at the end they turned out pretty stellar. For each one of the planets, I went in with some highlighting, white on one side, and I came back with black on the other. It really makes the planets pop. And I had a great time learning how to use my new airbrush to make stars. This whole time I wasn't sure how I was going to do the rings of Saturn, but I made this little cardboard cutout and just dipped it in the paint and had a little practice sheet that I did several practice runs on. And then after that, I just went for it. I'm using paint markers to label the names of the planets. And now for sanding and painting the legs and frame. And as I mentioned previously, this padded sandpaper and this small little handheld sander makes it really easy to just glide over all these details. And these are all getting a couple of coats of gloss enamel. My original thought was to use polyurethane as the top coat, but with all the paint that was used, it left a rough and uneven surface, which I couldn't have sanded because it would have ruined all the artwork. So what's a girl to do? Well, epoxy resin with white glitter, of course. We have these droplets of resin that have hardened on the bottom side of the tabletop. I'm going to take my sander and knock those back so that we can get ready for paint. What I failed to mention earlier is that I'm using acrylic paints from my art supplies. I'm going to add a little more color here and play with it a little bit and maybe give it a little cosmic swoosh. This is going to need some time to dry, and then I'll hit it with the enamel top coat like I did the legs and the other pieces, and then it'll be time to reassemble. First color that I painted on these legs was a little too light for what I was looking for, so I let that dry. I mixed up a new color which was darker, and it just wasn't giving full coverage for some reason, and in the end it ended up with this really cool distressed look, and I really liked it, so I just left it that way. So with the table all finished, I decided to scrap the original chairs. I ordered a few chairs from IKEA and hired the very best help to unpack them. I decided to take a chance on the acrylic paint for the chairs, but as I suspected, it didn't give the coverage or the quality I was looking for. In fact, it was cracking and peeling by the next day. So that's when I decided it was time for a trip to the hardware store. I sanded back the majority of this acrylic paint to get ready for my next idea. Next, I thought a little spritz of black might give it a celestial touch. I hope I'm right. like what I see here, so I continue by tapping in some stars, and then I'll let everything dry, flip everything over, and give it a couple more coats of paint. So here we have the backs of the chairs, and I'm going to be doing some stenciling because in order to explore the solar system, you've got to have a spaceship, right? Stenciling is my least favorite thing in the world of art because it always seems to bleed through no matter what I do. Thankfully I have my new airbrush, so I'm going to see how this works. Now that everything's dry, every piece is going to get a couple more coats of the enamel finish. And now we're on to the final step, which is assembling these chairs. And we made it to the end, and I love it. Every time I do one of these projects, I learn something new, and I'm just having the best time. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting me, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And last but not least, Noah gets to take it for a test run. And I think I can safely say mission accomplished. Until next time, take care.